Good evening, YouTubers, fellow reloaders, maybe reconditioners, collectors of old reloading equipment, restorers, antiquers, hobbyists, handy people. I'm going to call this not quite an unboxing, but they're both in boxes, so maybe technically it will be an unboxing. And I'll show each of these. I'll take the camera off tripod and show each of these a little closer because these are presses number 3 and 4. And depending on when you'll see some of these videos, I actually now have 5 of these Green Machines, 1 in 45 and the rest in 38 357. And I actually found these two right after I found my very first one. And in talking with the gentleman who owned these were his father-in-law's. Again, based on the serial number of this one, it's around 82, 83. This one doesn't have a serial number, but I think on one of the dies it said 84-ish. So again, early 80s. But I had the first Green Machine, and this person was not quite local, a couple-hour drive each way. And when we were going back and forth in terms of, how do we do this, shipping and everything, he said, maybe in a few weeks I'll be near your area, within a 30-minute drive instead of multiple hours each way. So I said, all right, let's do that. And today was that day. So in between the first press and talking about presses, what would have been 2 and 3 actually became 3 and 4, because I landed the second one, which you'll probably see a video of before this, and then the closet find, which is number 5. And I don't think you've seen that video yet either. So again, I don't know when these videos will, I make the video, then I don't necessarily publish right away. So the way these were described is it wasn't, obviously it's 2 separate machines, but it wasn't 2 separate fully working machines. So he said he used one machine and actually had it working, which is this one, which is actually the dirtier of the two. Whereas this one has some pieces missing, and he couldn't speak to the condition, but he said one works. So my thought was, let me recondition the one that works, and then for the one that may or may not work, use that for all of my mods that I was going to implement on the 45 ACP version, which I decided to leave as original. So there's a lot of stuff in the boxes, we'll see how much of it is shared. So I'll bring each one of these over to the bench and go through the stuff that's in the boxes. But before I do that, I'll go off tripod so you can see how grody. So this one's dusty. This one's grody. Back in a minute. So here we are with one of the machines. I believe this is, actually I don't remember if this is one without a serial number, with a serial number. It looks like it's missing the crimp die. Everything else looks like it's there. There's, the green tubes. I think there's some clear tubes here. There's an old case. There's some miscellaneous stuff there. But again, this one just looks dusty and dirty. This one, on the other hand, looks like animals have been nesting. I mean, I'm thinking some of that is, I don't know, the lighting's not so great, but when you look at the transfer bar down here, you can't even tell that it's metal. It's so caked with something. So maybe, whatever it's covered in is a good thing, because then it's preserving it, as opposed to, when you look at the condition of this handle and how rusty it is. Same thing with, the condition of this handle and how rusty it is. So these would both be taken apart, soaked in evaporust, and then cold blued, steel wool and cold blued to get the finish back. But, it looks like everything's here for the most part. but I'll have a better idea. You know, this one doesn't have a wood base. This one does have a wood base, and again, it's got some miscellaneous stuff, so we'll go through that. And I'll show you what made this, you know, some of this was like, what do you need another press for? And again, because I like to tinker, and I think it's going to be a challenge to bring this one back to life. Maybe more a cleaning thing than a restoration. I don't think there's any restoration involved here. I'm going to say it's all cleaning and conditioning, but there's some goodies in here that I will cover that made this all the more interesting to pick up. So back to the bench, and we'll take each of these out individually. I'm going to start with the cleaner of the two, and that was on the right side of the video. And you know, I'm going to guess that's probably like mouse stuffings. So this obviously has never been used because it's still got its original folds and such. So I'll put that off to the side. There's this in the box. And then there's these in that box. Quite dusty and dirty. Those need a good cleaning. Looks like this is the same thing. We'll move this off. The bin of goodies. So this looks like it's the top to maybe these. Stay up there, Nelly. Okay, so that's a little more organized. So we've got that, or more appropriately, top to top, missing bottom. Primer flip tray, which comes with the press originally, as you will see when I do my closet unboxing. This is so cool. This little brass piece that you may or may not be able to see, that brass piece is what goes inside the die, the 5/32nd. The 5/32nd, got a couple of these. The 5/32 or 3/32, which I'll show you in a minute, to tighten the die in so that the rings on the die don't get damaged. So brass is softer than steel. So this is another version of the PRT, Progressive Reloading Tool, also known as Green Machine, accessory pack for $38,357. So this looks like another bullet seating thingy bob, and some more pieces, springs, decapping pins. It's like the little pawls that go on the transfer bar. Okay, as you saw, we have two of these, two dirty, bigger versions of this, which I don't know what they'll be. This is a very dirty, oh, that's a shame that it's got gunk. Yeah, that's perma-gunk. That's a shame. Perma-gunk. I mean, it doesn't look like it'll potentially impede. Oh, maybe. Oh, that's tight. Yeah, maybe that will impede. Yeah, it's got a, who knows. So we will not put that back on that way. We'll put it on this way. A screwdriver from Allied. An original RCBS, ooh, junky. An original RCBS spent primer bottle. This looks like a blank for the Little Dandy rotor. And I might be wrong, but that looks like a blank. This looks like a primer punch under the transfer bar. Here is a number 22 Little Dandy rotor. Let's see what condition that's in. It's seen better days. Looks like it's like a less bare. The top half of the slide is purpling, and the bottom half is dark blue. It's in great condition. This is why I think it's a, again, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I do not know. But this is the truly enjoyable part of discovery, to see what you have here. God, I'd love to know what went in there. This is a little dandy powder thingy bob, a Craftsman 7/16. I love Craftsman stuff. You guys know that. I hope this is Craftsman too. Chapman, little wrench. Wrench that has been home to spider webs for many years. That's a cool old, kind of like an old school version of this, where I'll take the head, and still works. So that will get cleaned up. It's too bad it's all scratched up, but it will definitely get cleaned up. Some cute little, I don't know if these are RCBS or just stuff. Some spider goobery and some hex wrenches. Little set of hex wrenches. Again, I don't know if the hex wrenches, I don't recall the hex wrenches coming with the RCBS Green Machine or not. So we'll call this the, I'll clean that out before I put this stuff back in, or at least dump it out. Give it a good blowing with the air compressor. All right, let me get this stuff out of the way and pull the press out. All right, so here is the press. Again, doesn't look dirty. Let me rephrase that. Doesn't look, it's actually quite dusty. Dirty in the sense of compared to the other press. I noticed as soon as I lifted it out, I don't know if this is the original board that came with it. I'd have to measure. I want to say I believe it might be, which is kind of cool. I don't see why it wouldn't, because again, it has these 45-degree cuts, and who's going to go through the effort to cut 45-degree cuts into something? But what I think is kind of cool, and I will take one of my salsa things, taking this rather beat up. So these are obviously primers from a really, spent primers from a really long time ago. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, speaks to the fact that this got used. Oh, that's tight. That's a little tight in terms of the handle, and it doesn't want to catch. So this is press number 10,100 and change. So it's a few hundred newer than the press, my 45 ACP version. Again, I don't know if it came like this from the factory. Transfer bar 38,357. Looks like everything looks like it's here in the sense of, you know, what should be here. Oh, these are heavy little buggers. 28 pounds. What should be here in terms of things that I've found. This looks okay. Yeah, everything looks relatively decent. Let's see how it feels. Let me open up the handle lock and see. Doesn't feel like it goes back all the way. There we go. As I said, it looks like it's missing It's got the cedar. It's missing the crimp die. This has got a 83, so this is 1983. Confirmation of what I thought it was. And this one looks like it will be a good good donor for what I want to do. So what I was talking about, that little brass piece actually goes behind this hex to go against the die rings, the threads, so it doesn't damage the threads. So there's one of those in back of each one of these three, and I have an extra one. So let's see, is the so this actually moves. That turns. So those are both good indicators. So yeah, this looks just you know, dusty. Some bluing on the handle. Maybe more than just the handle. We'll see how that plays out. So I will put this off to the side, and I'll put gloves on to handle the other one. Back in a minute. All right, before I put the gloves on to handle or move the press, I'll just take the stuff out of the box minus the press. And again, I'm guessing we've had some animal visits there. This is the one I really like. And it looks like there's this. And this. And then this paper goes in with the press. So this is the Dandy rotor charge table. I don't know how many rotor charges were there. It looks like there were 12, 13, all the way up to 26. Any more than 26 of them? Okay, so there's 26 different Dandy rotors. Okay, so let's start with the paper bags. All right, so this is a Rusty number 15 rotor. For the, and it's cracked. To be expected. Not the best design in terms of the pressure fit, but it also looks like this is a smooth surface for the pressure fit. That's probably going to do more damage, maybe with a heat gun, than the one, oh, here's a better example. It's a smooth, well, it's graded. No, this, hard to tell. This one looks smooth. This one has different gradients to it. And the one that I restored has very distinct lips. Oh, broken. Another rotor. This one is 24. So we have 24 and we have 15. And that, you'll find out, is going to be interesting in a minute. These, at a price of $2.09, were made by Spear, and they're 50 capsule and base wads, empty shot capsules for reloading 38 357 shot shell cartridges. Okay, so I'm gonna think that maybe this goes, I think this is 357. Okay, this is 38 special. Yeah, that's what goes inside. You put your shot in there. So obviously your powder primer, shot, and then like snake shot, and then this top. goes on there. Okay, let me, instead of doing that, why not just, so that's kind of a trip. Interesting. Make my own snake shot. All right, that was cool. This is made by Herders out of Waseca, Minnesota. I don't know if that's where they still are. And that's shotgun. This is the same thing. There's nothing in this one, I believe, because nothing jumped around. Okay, these are empty. This is not. This is very heavy. And the reason it's heavy, and one of the reasons that drew me to this, was the contents. These are a bunch of, this looks like it's for a powder measure. So I'm going to keep that off to the side. These are a bunch of, and they're really in there tightly. These are a bunch of unused dandy rotors. Here's a number 14. So we have, there's another number 22. What is this one? This is 15 and 24. So do we have a 24? There's 16. There's 25. How many did we say there are? There are 26, or there were 26 rotors. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20. There's 24 of them, maybe 25, 26. So this is a 15. There's a 14. Another 22, so we have two 22s. No, so this is number 15 of this set, and this is number 24 of this set, and there is no 24. So this might be a complete set of 26 little dandy RCBS rotors. That's kind of cool. So if you know what the rotors cost today, this is a little bit of chunk change. Interesting. All right, time for the press. Time for the nasty. Back in a minute. All right, I was not kidding with the gloves. This is nasty. I'm checking the box. Nothing else is in the box. This is freaking nasty. So I'm going to use something metal. So that looks like rat droppings, a lot of animal droppings. In fact, I'm going to guess that this is completely covered in urine and feces to some degree. So as soon as I stop talking in a second, I'm going to probably take this outside. I'm guessing that was a broken decapping pin. That is correct. The decapping pin for here is missing. So if he used this one, this is the one without the serial number. You can tell there are primers in here. I'm going to not really touch this until after I take it outside and give it a good blowing off with the air compressor, just to get the animal stuff out of there. Yeah, that's kind of gross. That's grossy gross. Yeah, I don't even want to. Okay, that works. Yeah, I don't want to touch it. There, it is. Yeah, it's kind of yucky. It is yucky. All right, we are going to take that outside and try and eliminate some of the animal stuff that's made its home there. Yeah. I don't know that this was ever mounted either. I'm not seeing anything around here or here. This obviously was used because it's got where to grab. It's got spent primers. But again, my hope is that whatever gunk this is a coating that is actually protecting it like a sealant. But we'll find out. I mean, it's going to get taken apart. Oh yeah, that's nasty. It's going to get taken apart. I can't tell if this is a primer stuck right here in the gunk. Yes, it is a spent primer in the gunk. What can I get to? Let's get that. That is a spent primer into the garbage. All right. Okay, we're kind of done for as much as we're going to do today because this is just the hello. So I'm not going to bore anybody with the conditioning and restoration of either one of these. So I'll get them both all cleaned up, looking kind of hopefully newish, better-ish than this. And then I will pick one of these to be my donor for my mods, and then potentially sell the other one to somebody who may be interested in an old piece of history that will be very, very reconditioned and much cleaner. So more to come later. That's all for tonight. Take care. So I did take it out and blow it, or at least try and get some of the animal remnants off, which again, it's going to get a very thorough cleaning. Bottle looks like, I don't know what ate through that. Still got primers. But the reason I'm bringing this video to your attention, or this segment of the video, is I didn't even know this. There's a casing still in there, an original casing with a bunch of, I can see, gunk in it. So let us cycle the machine, see if it cycles. Oh, it's actually smoother than the other one. Okay, I spoke too soon. Oh yeah, that is gunked. Gunked. Yeah. Gunky. So I'm wondering if I'll even be able to push. Oh yeah, I can push it. All right. I can push that back far enough to get that case out. Oh yeah, we got some corrosion going on there. So we'll see how much is salvageable and what becomes parts. Oh goodness, do you know what this is? This is the original casing that came with this particular press. And I know this because it's a flat bullet, and I had the documentation from the closet press that showed the picture of this, as well as the original primed casing. Very cool. That's keeper stuff. All right, this will look different the next time you see it. Good evening, YouTubers. I started to tinker a little bit in between tea sessions. Love my weekend evening tea. So I went to Wally World during lunch and picked up what I'm going to call my restoration kit, or my degunking kit. I was thinking, how am I going to attack this? Because this is just a nasty mess with the funky animal remnants. And I thought, well, I'm not using any of my own brushes. So I picked up a nylon brush. Hopefully that won't be too invasive. And then I thought, well, what about a cleaner? Because I am going to spray this down with water. And my thought was, well, let me find a cleaner that isn't bleach centric. So again, Wally World, lemon scent all-purpose killer, all-purpose cleaner, kills 99.9% of germs. And there is germs here. There are germs. So I, again, wanted to stay away from bleach because I could just hit it with bleach, but I don't know how that would react with the finish. So I thought I'll give this a try. So my thought was spray this down, let it set a little bit, wash it, rinse it. I mean, there's already rust, so it's not like I'm going to introduce rust. But then do a second hit, start scrubbing to get the nastiness away. Blow it with compressed air, and then hit it with water displacement 40, WD-40, to try and run the water. So that is going to be that. Again, I'm probably not going to do updates. This just happened to be, we'll call it a tea update. But I did start tinkering in the garage. Couldn't help myself. So I don't know if you remember this particular item that was quite the rust. And what I noticed, a couple of things. One, this particular dandy design is different than this one. This one goes with the other machine because it has the adapter that this just pops on, and you can see where the holes were. And I misspoke when I said that this is wrong, because it looks like, depending on which particular adapter for the dandy, this would be the screw for the cylindrical adapter, and this would be the, I'm not going to call it a screw, a whatever, for the hex version of the handy dandy. Handy dandy, dandy handy. I don't know why I keep wanting to throw handy dandy in there. I think there was a lumber store when I was younger called Handy Dandy, and it's always stuck in my mind. So anyway, I hit this with the wire brush, the brass wire brush, give it some clean because it was nasty, rusty. Not sure what I'm going to do because of the paint issues where, you know, with this one, it's very easy. Hit this with steel wool and then re-blue it, cold blue it. So again, tinkering, difference. But what I also found was this one doesn't mount onto the other, and obviously it doesn't mount, or this one mounts to the other perfectly, mates perfectly. This one doesn't, you know, doesn't sit here. This looks more like a powder funnel, like if you were going to drop powder by hand. So I'm not really sure what's going on here. I started hunting around. So if anybody has a RCBS crimp die in 357/38 special from 1983, please let me know, because that's what I need for the other machine. So yeah, that's that little minor update of tinkering and finding unusualness. It's going to be interesting when I call RCBS to say, yeah, I need 4 of your dandy powder hoppers. And you're going to say, why do you need 4? I'm like, well, I got four PRTs. And again, I noticed that the ones that have a serial number tag, this one does not. That would be right there on the right-hand side. It says PRT and then a serial number. So progressive reloading tool. So this was really not externally, or rather internally, known as the Green Machine. Even though they printed the documentation, they call it the Green Machine. This was PRT internally, and the memos talk about that. So again, starting to do some cleaning, restoration. I will not do a step-by-step on this. In fact, I'm going to tag this along on the end of the previous set of videos that I did on this machine, or these 2 machines. And again, the next time you see these 2 machines, they're going to be looking hot. They'll be clean, and then maybe the last video will be all of my mods that I wanted to do on the 45 ACP. I'm going to do on one of these 357s, because again, I'm missing one of the primer feeds anyway, so that might be prime for doing my mods. But we'll see how this cleans up. We'll see how both of them clean up, and I might be swapping parts to make a better single version. Maybe sell it, maybe, I don't know. I just don't need these many PRTs, but I do enjoy the challenge of restoration, especially when I can combine that with some tea. So a cleaning we shall be, hopefully in the near future. And then I saw a dude on YouTube using these brushes, and I've purchased this kit before, but he used it for bluing, for cold bluing, and I have always been a cotton ball kind of guy for cold bluing. So I'm going to try, because cotton ball just soaks it up, and the sponge, albeit soaks it up, doesn't retain it like a cotton ball, absorb it in the same manner. So I'm going to use these for my my bluing, especially of the handle and whatever else needs cold bluing. Maybe this this thingy bob right here. But yeah, once we get past this gunk, I'm really hoping this gunk is a preservative. And we've got some really nice metal under there, as opposed to, you know, I can see a bunch of corrosion there that hopefully will be easy to deal with, but time will tell. So that's it for now. Later, folks. Well, hello, YouTubers, fellow reloaders, restorers, antiquers, collectors, people who like old presses. I'll call this a mini update. I'm going to nickname this press Dusty because of all the dust that's even still on it after being blown out. And I'm going to call this one Mouse because of all the mouse droppings. And I noticed that the paint, this one has a brighter green silver finish. You can see the silver flakes. This one more just green-ish. In fact, I went to the local paint store when I was out shopping and grabbed just some samples to see, you know, what colors. And, you know, when I try to match these up, because I will do some touch up here and fix that, address that. I'll probably blue it and then paint it to prevent further corrosion. But, you know, just trying to find something that matched this color. Exquisite Emerald seemed to match this color press. And this color, which is Crown Jewel, seemed to match this green a little bit closer. Probably not picking up too well on camera, as it never does, but I found that kind of interesting. Clean this up. This cleaned up beautifully. This actually works a little bit different than my other wrench. My other wrench is more traditional with a, you know, clockwise, counterclockwise lever, whereas this one, you just flip the wrench, and there's counterclockwise, there's clockwise. So that's been buffed, polished, oiled, and this will be of great assistance when I start taking this press apart. Different size screws, like here in this press, the 3/32 for the guide here, whereas this one has a hex key. This has, for the most part, hex key bullet head. This has hex key, your more traditional head. As you can see, this one, which was what I call the mouse droppings, this was frozen. This took a lot of oil to free up. So the process that I did, as I explained, was this was all done outside, was shooting it with this a lot, and again, no bleach smell, doesn't look like any corrosion on the paint. So shot that more times than I can remember, then washed it, then shot it again, scrubbed it. This is now the permanent garage brush because this was nasty. Even cleaning this when I was done was nasty. So my hope that the gunk was a protectorant covering, and anything shiny you see here is WD-40. There is no more water in this press. This was multiple times sprayed, multiple times cleaned, then washed. Again, start, rinse and repeat, literally. And then after blown out, it was WD-40'd for about, I would say a good third of the can. And then blown out again and then wiped down so that the only thing remaining is the rust and corrosion. So a bit of a bummer. What's funny is this press actually operates smoother. The mouse press operates smoother than what I call Dusty. Dusty's a little tighter, but this one's going to be in better shape with the metal. This one's going to be more of a challenge. I will not probably do step-by-step next maybe update, and these will all be combined because I'm not going to make individuals, but there's going to be a lot of evapor rusting going on this one. This one, not so much. This one will probably be more oiling and steel wool. This one will be soaking in evapor rust and probably more invasive action on the components, but we'll see. So yeah, a morning spent trying to find what worked best, and you know, we'll see if that was it. And now I'm on the hunt for a 357 crimp from 1983, I think. Actually, no, 84. 84, 83. We'll see what I can get. Yeah, this one is 81. This is marked, I can't even tell because it's so. This one is 81. Okay, so these both match as 1981. So in 1981, which is right around when they began making these machines, 80, 81, there's no serial number on it. Where this one, which is 83, 84, based on potentially the die and maybe the number of 10,147, has a stamped, adhered serial number plate. And again, the difference in the paints, I don't know if that means anything sequentially or again, different nuts and bolts, but that's that. So we'll see how this this shapes up. Not sure which one's going to be my donated press to my mods at this point. Probably this one because it's a little more beat up and it's going to need more work. So the tools came in handy. Good stuff. Later. Okay, YouTubers, we are all apart, down to nothingness. I've been doing, there's the priming system. I get it in focus. So cleaning, polishing, evapor rusting, taking things apart. No action there yet. So I thought I'd go from the bottom up, and cleaning up nice. Looks a lot better than it did a day ago. So that's it for not doing updates. Later. Hello, YouTubers, fellow reloaders, restorers, collectors, antiquers, hobbyists, craftspeople, all that good stuff. And in keeping with I'm not going to do any more updates on the press that I nicknamed Mouse. Here's another mouse press update. So the press from, I'll say that the bottom third down, so maybe a little more than that. I haven't touched this. I've done, here's my bin. So I did the top, I did the left side. So maybe I'll call this the center. The center is not done. And these were both, all three of these were both evapor rusted, which really didn't do a whole lot. I then bead blasted the, I don't know what this thing is called, the round funnel. Notice it's quite bent too, so I might do some soft bending to straighten that out. This is obviously the back handle or the back shaft, and again, evapor rust. We've got some pitting. I did wire wheel, and then finally decided to bead blast, and then I will polish this to a high gloss. This came out so nice. This was so shitty. This is the handle, which was way rusted. Again, evapor rusted, really didn't do it. Wire wheel, I decided to forego that after a minute of contemplating. And then I went with the Bead Blast. And this has such a nice satin finish that I was debating whether I should just blue this as is. But then it won't match this. So I will probably spend a ton of effort shining this up because it's a big piece. But, you know, things came out well. A lot of the pitting, you know, can't do anything about pitting, but a lot of the caked on surface rust has been removed. I need to do a bunch of bluing. These, again, it's unfortunate that the pitting is there, but they're in great condition as compared to what they were. So I will not blue these. But, you know, stuff like this will get reblued. This was a mess, cleaning up all the rust. So this will get reblued. A lot of pitting, unfortunately. But, whoops. But it is what it is. So let me pick that up before I lose it. That was some exercise. So it's been a busy day with Bead Blast, getting the Bead Blaster all out of the garage and going to town. This was just a mess. So this will come out nicer than what it was. But yeah, it's just so amazing how poor or the condition, how poor condition people let things get into. But this is cleaning up, as you've seen in my other not video update, cleaning up quite well. So looking forward to, I'll probably start bluing, polishing and bluing today, and maybe reassembly later in the week. That's all for now. No more updates. Right. Hello, folks. We'll call this another non-update and I guess unbagging. Did a lot of cold bluing, small parts, bigger parts. They've been sitting in oil, saturating, trying to get a better look. I've also cleaned the head. Everything is quite beautiful again. Had to order some new large pins. Not sure how this is going to adapt to the powder measure. And this press is from 1981, based on these two dies and the year code, which you may or may not be able to see depending on how this focuses. Again, everything cleaned, polished, removed, polished, oiled, rust removed. Yeah, it was nasty. This was nasty too. Everything on this particular little gem was nasty. Nasty. All right, so that's done. Essentially everything is done. We won't be taking these parts out because that will be for reassembly. Same thing for this one. These three we will take out to see how they turn out. Let me get a towel to wipe off the wet oil. Oh yeah. So what I did was, after the Bead Blast, I decided I was not going to leave it 100% satin. I went over it with steel wool to not necessarily shine up the satin, but take some of the satin off, and I think that just came out beautiful. Yeah, that looks good. Compared to what it was, this was a rust bucket. This one, these two components, we'll start with the littles. This thing, as you saw, had to be hella bead blasted. It was in rough shape, really rough shape. Still is in rough shape. It's just in better rough shape. Again, came out good for as bad a condition as it was. I mean, just, this thing was atrocious. Atrocious. And the big boy. This one required a lot of work and a lot of bluing too. Wasn't 100% satisfied as everything falls on the floor. Wasn't 100% satisfied with the bluing, but we'll call it good enough. So this got wire brushed, bead blasted, polished, and then cold blued. So it is much better. I mean, there's pitting on it. It's much better than what it was. Not where I'd like it to be, but you know, it is what it is. So what you gonna do, what you gonna do. But not bad. Not bad overall. Again, compared to what it was, when you look at what that will now be. So, good stuff. All right, the next time we do a non-update, this will all be together and hopefully function as a single unit of new YouTubers. For those of you with a good eye for detail, let me adjust this up a little bit. So this, I decided to show these side by side because last week this was the really clean and really nice one, and this one, so this one was the one I called Dusty, and this one was the one that I called Mouse. And as you can see, Mouse is looking pretty good. Mouse is no longer dirty. In fact, Mouse is very, very, very clean, and timing is now correct and takes next to nothing. Obviously, I don't have a whole lot holding this down. Takes next to nothing to operate. And let me grab a empty casing so that you can see timing is pretty good. So all is done on this machine, as far as the machine goes. So I think what I'm going to do, so all these boards with the, I believe that's a 45-degree angle cut, which we will find out here in a minute. Dun, 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 dun. How can I determine if that is 2 inches? Well, I know that's 45. Yeah, I'm going to say that's a 45-degree cut. My homeschooling math, my non-common core math, geometry, I guess is a better phrase. I'm going to make these are 12 by 12. So the boards that are 12 by 12 did come with this. So this is an original board. It's unfortunate. It looked like whoever owned this one is, you can't even see what I'm touching. Let me go down a little bit. There we go. So whoever owned this one, I'm sure that's how they mounted it to their bench with 4 screws in each of the corners. So not sure what I'll do with this one, but for this one, one of these machines is going to end up, some machine is going to end up on the inline fab mount. So I have not decided which is the keeper machine, which is the sell it, give it away. Well, I probably won't give it away unless it's a family member who wants an old progressive inline press, which is doubtful. But in any case, I've got a call out to RCBS and a bunch of broken items on the 4 other presses, which they're now going to charge me for because they're setting me up with a purchasing account. So I guess I asked for too many replacement parts, and that's that. So this one will get cleaned. I don't know if I'll do the same level of cleaning. Some things are really nasty. The handle's really nasty. This one came out really nice, and as you saw from a previous video. So this machine looks great. The greens are definitely different. This is a brighter green. This is not as bright. So these are definitely 2 different greens, and you can see that in the light. Even, when that is not dirty or dusty, it's definitely a different green. So I think that's kind of funny that all the different greens, but everything has been reconditioned. This was stripped completely down to nothingness, as you saw from some of the videos, and now operates as it did the day that it was shipped back in 1983. Was this 83? No, 81. These are 81. Dun dun dun. Actually, what's this one? Yes, 81. 81. Both of these are 81. I'm still waiting on some parts, and I do not have the screws all the way back in, the set screws, just because I'm not done setting this up, because this will be set to reload correctly and then put in the museum, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have too many of these, so I'm enjoying the restoration, reconditioning process. Probably not so much the reloading process, so more for old pieces of history, kind of like the Shellmaster. These are just little gems, in my opinion. So now Mouse is clean mouse, and Dusty is still Dusty. So probably won't document this one. Again, I'll do the board for this, probably do the decal as well, and then lacquer the board so that it has a nice finish to it. And that will be that. And I'm not sure what I'll do with these original boards, this wood that is 40 plus years old, which I think is kind of cool. But more to come, maybe. Later.